what features does a person need to have to show that he's speaking like a native?
Well, that's a very difficult question. Speaking as a native is you took for years you've been speaking that one language, and over time you started developing different ways of different methods of talking. So when I'm talking in my own country, people can actually kind of figure out where I'm from. But sometimes that I had that unique skills. After a while, people cannot place my accent. Like there was a story. I was in Taiwan. I met a guy from North Carolina, and we were talking, and he just could not place my accent. He says, "You sound like you're from the West Coast, but you kind of sound like you're from Missouri. Where are you from?" Uh, so it's just like talking as a native speaker. It's like accent comes into play, and basically how you see like a word in like take an example of pop or Coke, soda. Those three examples right there is like I had a roommate. He was from Pennsylvania, and he always saying, give me a pop." Heard that, I was like, I had no idea what you're talking about. He says Coke. Well, it'd been easy if you just said Coke.
Mm-hmm.
So talking as a native speaker depends where you're at, and so in New York you have a different style than Sydney, Australia, or London, England.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What about
So
mhm. What about students?
okay.
What about students? What about your students? Do they often ask you questions? Hey, Scott, I want to speak like a native. Teach me.
Yeah, you get that with the more advanced students.
Definitely. Which level?
As I said, I will start seeing that with the upper intermediate, advanced years of speaking English.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they'll start asking the questions. In the beginning, no, they would love to get that level, but not
Uh-huh.
at like you don't really. I have not seen it as much from intermediate and down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. I see. So when you speak with well, you generally speak with Russian speakers, yeah. It's kind of so you speak with students and when you speak to them, do you see the mistakes that they make, and it's like you can tell them, hey, we don't speak like that. Not in terms of grammar, not in terms of vocabulary, but in terms of, first of all, of some kind of pronunciation. Uh, can you
No.
say them something like that?
It was if it was more like in the intermediate and up levels. When I started working in Ukraine with this one company, the materials they had, I had to look through this, and I says, I never use that. And
Mm-hmm.
I started asking other native speakers. I'm like, maybe it's just me, and they're like, we don't use that. And I had to tell the students, I'm like, that's just too many words, and they're like, why? Well, Americans don't like words. It's just too
Okay.
many. It's just too many words you're saying. We just like to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Simple
And
as
I
possible.
kind pretty much we just we want to make it as simple as possible. We don't really want to get into a whole like write a book. We just want to like look. I want you to get to the store, go to the store, buy some milk. I don't care about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we just keep it as simple dialogue.
Yeah.
And I try to tell that to my students, and they kind of got you kind of saw the frustration, and they're like, why are we had to study this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's my class.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So this was a small. Can you tell a few words about yourself? So can you just how long have you been teaching English?
Oh, that's a good question. I started doing teaching English. It was just at first it was a job. That was about 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And this job took me to Thailand. Then I moved to Taiwan, and I've been in Ukraine for close to a year now.
Yeah.
So I do not know where I go.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
eventually, it's just been. I started seeing like maybe this is not a job, but maybe something I can do.
Okay.
Something I like to hang out. I love to talk to other people from around the world.
Yeah. So you've been to Asia. Yeah, it's cool experience, I think.
And
Mm-hmm.
different world. Sometimes you
Uh-huh.
kind of get really frustrated.
Uh-huh. Okay. So right now let's do the following. Right now let's speak on the topic, and
Okay.
you can share the screen, your
Okay.
screen.
Uh,
Yes, and open that
wait.
slide. Yeah, the slides that.
Wait. There we go.
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, you can. So next slide. Go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And I prepared some things that probably native speakers do, and not non-natives ones don't do. Let's speak about them. What you think? Actually, it was more like spontaneous. So I just wanted to discuss it with you because I think that's really what differs you as a native speaker and, for example, me or non-native one.
Yeah, I mean, since started teaching, um, I have noticed my change of my speed.
Uh-huh.
When I first started doing this job, I talk like a native, and I was always talking really fast, and I didn't really put much thought to it, and there was always a lot of confused looks, and I always looked at the people around me and like, what's wrong?
Uh-huh.
And so this one always made me laugh. Speak fast and even careless. A lot of times,
Yeah.
sometimes we killed our grammar. Like we have no care when what we're talking. It's we kind of understand one another, but for someone learning English, they can get very frustrated with us.
Mm-hmm. What about non-native ones? When they speak clearly and slow, what is it very typical of them?
For the if they're not familiar with the language,
Mm-hmm.
if they've been doing it for years, man, they kind of will pick up the speed. But if they have been learning for about a year, then yes, they will be kind of slow,
Mm-hmm.
and they put a lot of thought between for each word.
Uh-huh. Okay, next, love to eat, munch, and swallow words. Uh, yeah, it's a bit okay. I should make a space. Yeah, but it's and non-native
Okay.
ones. Yeah.
Love to pronounce words as clearly as possible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
that as much as possible for as a native speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes is I mumble or I tend to say something really fast, and with non-native speakers, they just have this confused look, and I just like what?
Yeah. Do you think that it's the key point here? Maybe not the key point. The key message is like at first, being a non-native, a person who is learning English, for example, you start to speak really slow and careful, trying to pronounce every word carefully and clearly. But then you start speaking like, what do you want? What are you doing? You start munching, eating, swallowing words. Is it the way native
Right.
speakers speak?
Yeah, we do that a lot as native speakers. It's like we don't like take example today.
Uh-huh.
You won't not hear like a American, for example, be say, "What do you want to do today?" It's like, "What do you want to do today?"
Yeah.
We're just throwing as much words or taking letters out of the words, and we're just putting into like a new word.
Yeah. Okay. Next, tend to use more. Yeah, you can read. Tend to use more.
I'd say native speakers tend to do more informal language or formal when needed.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Um, Phrasal verbs and slang is we are guilty, especially Americans. I have been told I use a lot of phrasal verbs when I'm describing something. And a lot of times native speakers have to stop me and they ask a lot of questions when I'm using a lot of phrasal verbs or slang. Formal speech, yes, it's usually I tend to use formal speech when I'm talking to authorities, police officers, judges, someone who, but, and 50-50 with my mom. With my parents, depends on what kind of day. Are they having a good day? Then it's informal. If I'm in trouble, I use formal speech sometimes.
Yeah, and so it's probably like a job. Yeah, different jobs. People tend to speak more formally.
Especially, yes.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get that job, you had to use formal speech. You would not be like calling your boss a bro.
Have you noticed that your students they really use more formal language?
Yes. Not too much. Kind of with the children, but with adults, yes, they will use a lot of formal speech.
And what about
like here I notice.
Continue. Go on.
Oh, like they tend to use a present perfect, more like past simple.
Okay, we'll talk about this basic grammar. We'll talk. We'll talk about it at the end. Okay. Then next thing, have you often noticed that again, English students? I mean, students who learn English, they don't understand the difference between words. So, as you said, for example, there is a word to start, yeah, and then there is a word like the phrasal verb to kick off. And it's sometimes for example, they may learn this word, kick off, and then they don't know that this phrasal verb kick off, it's a bit informal, and they start using it in formal context, and it sounds a bit awkward. It sounds not naturally, as if I'm trying to speak, as you said, with my boss, as if he is my friend, something like that, or vice versa. Have you noticed such thing or not?
If it's if it's a new type of word, like in the past, or rarely had, they will tend to use it in the wrong context. But if they have heard it a lot of times, like say sounds good, a lot of my students tend to good sound, so it's easy for them. It's like they'll use this very often. I'm using like another one saying maybe on the fence, and the students do not know what the meaning of on the fence is. So if I'm like, if we're playing a game and say there's two cards I like, and I'll say I'm on the fence on this, I'm not sure, and my students be like, I don't understand that.
I see.
So or they'll take that and say they're on the fence, but they use it in the wrong context.
I see.
It was not meant to be used.
Next, use a lot of contractions and reductions.
Again, I am guilty of it, but being a teacher for about 3 years, I started to stop using that. Start using more as I tried to say each word. But when I'm with native speakers, it's funny how I automatically go back to like I would not use like I will in words into one.
What about, have you noticed that some students, they tend to use more again these contractions and reductions? Yeah, first of all, reductions, such reductions as wanna, gonna, maybe gotta, yeah, something else like let me, give me, that you use very often, or contractions. Again, there are common contractions and there are contractions that are not used so often. Common, it's like Dennis's car, or maybe not Dennis's car, but like Tom's come, yeah? It means like Tom's, where is Tom? Or Tom's gone. Maybe this is a good example. So, I mean, contractions, in a way, yeah. And usually, non-native speakers, they don't speak like that. They prefer to say Tom has come, or Tom has gone, yeah, while you prefer to say, oh, Tom's gone. I don't know, Tom's gone. Yeah, and it sounds, for us it sounds, Tom's gone. He has a gun.
Yeah.
So do you notice this thing among your students?
If they're like if it's like the first time they're using it, yes, it will, like they're kind of like afraid to use it, or it's just not working for them, so they kind of avoid it. Over when got used to using the context, yeah, and then they'll start using it freely.
I see.
But it's like a reduction. I notice with some of my students, they don't want to do it because it feels like it's how I feel, everything that they're taught, so they don't want to use it.
Yeah, don't forget that some students, they were, how to say, they were brought up on British books. They were brought up on the books, on the Oxford books, Cambridge books, and it's more a style of a queen, maybe not a queen, but it's more kind of a formal style. Of course, it's not always formal, but it's difficult to explain. But it's a kind of English that is. Can you help me, because right now I can.
Like proper English.
Yes, that's right. Because I was thinking which word to pick up.
Exactly. I have been to England and I have talked to people from basically from England. And when they hear Americans, it's just like, what kind of English is that? And you say America, and they're like, they just roll their eyes, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
And I mean, they still got the old world mentality that English came from England, so they speak the proper, and they don't like it how South Africans, Australians, New Zealanders, Canadians, Americans, how we use their language.
Then next, actually, we are going to talk today about contractions and reductions quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I just made it in bold, so they're in bold. But let's finish the last thing that I came up. Native speakers, you can read. Yeah.
Native speakers use basic grammar for basic things.
And non-native ones?
Non-native speakers use complex grammar for basic things. I have seen this a lot of times, like it's like they're writing a book and they're just explaining everything, and it's happy that they can speak English and they want to show you, and but they're struggling with the vocabulary or the types of structure. They're not really too familiar, so they're going into this long drawn process. And sometimes I notice that I kind of get impatient, like especially if I had to go somewhere and I'm like, are you done with the story?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the most common thing again with American, especially with Americans. It's to use present perfect instead of past simple. I mean, to use more, overuse present perfect. And you Americans, you notice it a lot.
Actually, I had to. A lot of times it's like doing teaching, being a teacher. This has been a job where I had to start analyzing what am I speaking, what form is that. 5 years ago, I had no care what I'm saying. It's you understood, so I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't, then I kind of explained more. But now being a teacher, I actually am like, is it just me that I'm doing it wrong, or do we have to work on the vocabulary or some type of grammar structures?
Mm-hmm.
So with this job, this has really helped me analyze my speech pattern or the use of my English.
Okay. Okay. So next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll start. That's actually the most basic contractions. Yeah. I just here I want. Oh, maybe because when I speak, people don't see the slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So just go briefly through it, and again, maybe I know better Russian students, Ukrainian students, and I just wanted to show that by this example, I just wanted to show that will is the most common contraction, and it should be used a lot, especially he'll, will, she'll, you, they'll, and so forth. Can you comment on this or not? Uh,
Yeah, I agree. Will, if you're talking in the future, like if you're going to do
yeah.
something.
Yeah. It's really very easy thing, so it's basic thing. So let's move on. Next. Next slide.
So in present form, present perfect, you'll have I have. Um, so it'll say like we won't say I have. I'll never been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So that's again the most common and basic thing, and that should be remembered. Yeah, and should be used a lot. Um, well, maybe only in formal speech they don't use contractions, right?
Depends. Sometimes.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes it's maybe. Can you give the example when it's important to use not to use contraction? When you want to focus on have, like or what?
Hmm.
Like I have done it or I've done it.
No, it'll just be like redundant.
Okay, yeah. So maybe there is no certain difference. Yeah, maybe there is really no difference. So it's
I
okay.
can't really. Well, I can't think of a time when you're not doing it. It's like or in the most basic form, you'll just say like if you're like say my father said if I cleaned the garage, and I'll say it's done,
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
or I'm on it
Mm-hmm.
if he sees me doing something. But sometimes you kind of have to be kind of careful with that. Even with my father, if I'm talking to him like that, uh, he kind of was not really a happy person if he thought I was giving him an attitude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, I learned really quickly to always make sure I have my contractions.
Uh, but again, it really depends on the parents because some parents are strict. I know also other American who told me that I don't use contractions, I don't use reductions. I speak proper English. I say, why? It's because I was brought up in this way.
Yeah. Well, each family is different, but
Yeah.
as I said, I got away with it sometimes.
Yeah.
With my
But
father, it was a different story. It was just sometimes I had to judge if he was in a good mood, and I got away with it. If not, I got a lecture.
But do you agree that you use a lot of contractions, more than we use?
Yeah, I do a lot.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Next slide.
Different classes I do. Okay.
Yeah. That's the most interesting. I mean, the most interesting, not for you, of course, you know, you know this, but it's interesting for students. So maybe it would be better, again, I will stop speaking, yeah? You will start speaking, and when you start speaking, I would like you to use more examples and to show the way it's pronounced, because some of the examples here, it's really maybe some students have never seen such examples or usage of these contractions. You know, it's really true. I know I teach, maybe you, if you teach this to your students, you may see it, but I say to my students, they most of them don't know, for example, that whatted, yeah, can be a contraction of what did. Yeah, so I would like you to speak about it, just go through every example and maybe give some like example from, yeah, your own example.
Well, the first example, like what will or what shall, I do not use a contraction.
Okay.
Mine, I tend to say the two words. What are? I can't really think of a time, so I say that's not really used that much in my vocabulary.
What about what are you doing?
Yeah, I will say the two words. I will not use the contractions on that.
So you'll say, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing?
But it's almost contraction. What are you doing? What are
Yeah,
you? What are you? Where are you? What are you? It's almost a
my
contract.
brain saying no.
Okay. Next.
But what's is very common.
Of course.
Like
Yes, what is very common, but what about what's as does? Like, what's he say?
no,
It
I
means
would
what
just say
does he say? What's he say? What does he say? What about this contraction?
I haven't heard it in that way. I have heard what is, what has, but what does.
Never heard?
No, I have not heard that way.
Okay.
But you will hear native speakers say what's, and I'm automatically thinking what is.
You should. Okay.
But I just have not heard it in my circles, or I have not really used it in that context, and that's why I'm like drawing a blank.
Okay. Next.
Okay, what have? Yeah, I would probably use like what have you been doing, or what have you been doing?
Yeah. What have you been doing? What have you been doing? Can you repeat it one more time?
Like what have you been doing?
What have you been doing?
It's like I don't know if it's being clear, but like I'll walk into my class and they're all yelling, going crazy, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's what are you doing, or what have you been doing?
Yeah. Or
What
what
do
are
you?
you up to?
Oh,
Okay, where's that's very common.
yeah. Next.
Who'd? No, I don't really use that much of who
Okay.
had or who would.
Next.
Okay, who will or who shall? Who? Yeah, I will probably use that as like who.
I'll be doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm like giving them like maybe an extra credit, extra activity, and says who will do it.
Okay, yeah.
Who's very common.
Mm-hmm.
The last two, I have not really used it as much, or I have not really recognized for myself using it. So
What about wanted?
again, I will use as for me, I'm more comfortable using the two words. I'll
What did?
actually draw out the two words, like what did, or what had.
Uh-huh. But do you agree it's used almost? It's really it sounds like what did, what it.
Yeah, it just for me when it rolls off my tongue, it just feels weird, or my brain's like, "What are you saying?"
So you've never heard, and no one heard. You've never heard anyone speaking like that.
I cannot think of a. Not
Exactly.
really in my inner circle. Maybe when I was younger, probably, but looking back, I can't find an example.
Uh-huh. Okay, next. Next slide. Yeah, actually, that's all with contractions. Yeah, maybe let's go back one more time and like summarize. So contractions are important, but
It's 50-50. It's how you're used to you're using it. Can it be done? Yes. But for if you're using me as an example, it's kind of like a 50-50 with me.
okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
It, basically, with native speaker is you have to be comfortable with this type of form. With my years of speaking English, I just there's certain words I'm not comfortable in my own language, so I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes with English, I always look for the shortcuts. And if I'm comfortable with it, I'll do it, or I will use it. And if I'm understood, I'm happy. If
Mm-hmm.
not, then I will use it. I will draw it out and make sure that the person understands me.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay, next reductions.
Okay. Yes, you hear this a lot. A lot of these words, when I was growing up about 20 years ago, some of these, actually, all of these words were not in the dictionary. But
Mm-hmm.
you hear this on MTV, you heard this on the streets, you heard this from your family. They're saying it, you're saying it, and your English teacher is about to wants to scream at you, saying it's not in the English dictionary, it's not in the English language. Quit making up the words.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny now. You look it up in the dictionary, and these words are here.
Yeah, right now, exactly, exactly. So if we're talking about these three red words, I mean, gonna, wanna, gotta, it's actually they are the most common, the most widely used, and actually I prepared a lot of. I think if we start talking about it, there are a lot of. Well, maybe let's start. Yeah, maybe let's start. And because I prepared really interesting material, so let's start. Next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start talking about it. And I just really we and I mean we as together with students. I as a teacher, English teacher, I had some questions regarding using Ghana. Actually, I searched a lot on the internet. I listened a lot to the native speakers how they speak, but still. I have some questions, maybe, yeah, I not questions, but one question. The main usage of gonna is, of course, it's the short form of going to. And
Okay.
yeah, to the left, you can see Okay, because when I speak, it's I am shown. I am shown, and people don't see the slide. So let's do the following. You speak, but you speak not about the left column, which is in the upper, well, which is upper, yeah, but about the right upper column. The question.
Uh, you want me to use the one, I'm going to be all right?
Uh, Not exactly. Not exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, not exactly. Actually, probably this information it requires a thorough, well, probably we'll need more time on it because it's really very interesting and it should be explained in more details and maybe from in more details. And actually, it would be better if when people see the slide. Okay. Right now, just wanted to ask you one thing about Ghana.
Okay.
Is it true that in when we make a question with, for example, what or with who, like what are you gonna do today, or who you gonna come with, who you gonna help, we omit are. It's not what are we gonna do today, but it's what are we gonna do today, or not who are you gonna help, but who you gonna help.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. Okay, that's actually it. Just it's true. Okay, I'll talk about this topic maybe some other time, either with you or maybe alone. But it's really very important, and we will talk about it later. Okay, next slide.
Okay. Okay. Wanna. Yes. Wanna is also very common. You hear this all like you just hear it everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And so do you have any questions on wanna or what was my insight?
Yeah, people see that probably the students they can see that the slides, the examples, my examples. Maybe the only thing that I wanted to ask you is how do you pronounce wanted in the past? I wanted to help you, for example.
Oh, we'll just say wanna. I wanted to help you.
But you don't say wanna, you say wanted, right?
Hmm.
You don't say I
Yeah.
wanna. You say wanted.
Want it.
Yeah, so you skip t, or actually you as if swallow it.
I'll add it to you.
Huh?
Yes.
So you swallow t, and there is as if no t. It's the same. The same thing is in, for example, 20. Yeah. Probably British people they say 20. You say 20.
Yep. 20.
20. Yeah, the same is here. Want it. Want it. Okay. In questions, in negative forms, it's the same. Yeah, wanna. I don't
Yep.
wanna. Does he
I
wanna?
don't I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't wanna.
Um
Questions?
she doesn't want to do that or uh you want a beer?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And what about wants to? When if we're talking about the third form, she wants to come.
Shoot.
She wants to come.
I'm trying to figure an example.
She wants to come.
It'd
She
be
wants
like
to play with
it
you.
would be like she wants to come, or sometimes you would hear like she wanted to come. She wanted to come,
Yeah,
or
yeah. She wanted if it's in the past, but I'm speaking about more about this
yeah, yeah, present.
wants. Yeah, in present simple. She wants
Yeah, I would just strip two wants, do more
mm,
proper.
more to. Okay. What about wants to? Wants to. It seems to me we're talking about it. Wants to.
Okay.
Is it okay? She wants to come, but she wants to come, but I don't know. But
You can use that way. Has
you
been
can
used.
also. Okay, okay, good. Next, next
Yeah.
slide. Gotta.
Gotta. Yeah, you will hear this a lot in the short form. I gotta go. Um, uh, I gotta brush my teeth, or it's just right there. Is you're telling as a native speaker, it means that you need to go. It's tends to like an informal way of it's time for me to leave.
Do you feel the difference when I say, sorry, Scott, I have to go. Sorry, Scott, I must go.
Must go. It sounds like you have more of an urgent. Have to go is like you need to go, but
Mhm.
there's like still like a as a pause. But sometimes native speakers will say that, and we'll still be talking.
But if I will be speaking like I gotta go,
Yeah.
and what's the difference then between gotta go, I have to go, I must go?
Not really. You just put it in the same box. It's in the same
Uh-huh.
box, and you say you need to go. You need to leave.
Okay, okay, I understand. Can you explain the difference? What does it mean? For many people, it's really not clear. Have got to. What's this construction? What's this?
Half. What was it one more time? I didn't hear the last part.
Have got to. You see, it's
Oh, half
on
got
the
to.
top. Yeah, have
Hmm.
got to. Yeah. What's this? Because for many students, it's not clear what this have got to. What is this?
Honestly, I don't really use that context, so if I can't think of a time when you have to use it, it's usually we tend to drop got. Means I have to go or I must go, but not have. I have got go. Have got to.
Maybe it's British.
Yeah, and in American dialogue, I'm drawing a blank. I have not heard it in that in context.
I see. I see. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Yeah, it's clear. So maybe I'll talk more in details later. Yeah. It's clear. Next.
Okay, ain't. I remember my English teacher had told me not to use ain't. It was she said dictionary, I could not use it in class.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually tried to look it up, and at the time, well, looking back, the dictionary was kind of outdated. This word has been around for a couple hundred years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, if not mistaken, it was used ain't. It's an old-fashioned word. Maybe not old-fashioned, but usually it's really used for a long time. It's been used for a long time ago, for a long time, and it seems to me started using maybe like as you said during the 17th or maybe 18th century. First of all, by British people. Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
it's and it was very common to say like that. What? It's a contraction of not only the verb to be, but also the verb to have. Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Um, you see that at the bottom, maybe not at the bottom, but at a bit with a space. Yeah. When there is a space, you see that it's written "Ain't no sunshine," Ain't no money. It's very strange to see it because it's like a double negation. Can you? Is it used like that?
Ain't no sunshine. Ain't no sunshine. Oh yeah. I mean, that is famous because of a song,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes in when I was in the army, you heard us a lot, especially when we have no money. You
Uh-huh.
always say, I ain't got no money."
Ain't no money.
So yeah, ain't no like I'm trying to think of a time when I used that, but I have not really used it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a kind of a funny context.
It's
Oh.
more like yeah, it would be like a funny context. It's like you have to understand the meaning. I just I tend to replace it with "ain't got no money,"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
but
Okay. Watcha.
yeah, whatcha.
Uh,
A lot of times you'll hear like, "What you doing?"
mm-hmm. What you gonna do?
Or "What you thinking about?" or "What you thinking?" I tend to use that a lot, especially thinking, and I'm usually like, I want to know what are they thinking. Um, what you want from me? Yes. If you're going to come up to me and if I know you, I'll be like, "What do you want from me?"
What you want from me? There is a good example. You can read it. What you need, boss? Uh, where did you hear that? What you
Oh,
need,
I
boss?
use that. I use that a lot of times in the army.
Uh-huh. Is it from mafia? Is it from the army? Where does it come from?
What, boss?
No, no. You can hear that it's a kind of you're making fun of someone. Like maybe not making fun, but it's what you need, boss.
Oh, that gotta probably go back to the older days.
Mm-hmm. Mafia times.
Nah, this gotta be more older, like
Uh-huh.
slave days, because a lot of these
Ah,
words like ain't
yes,
according
exactly.
to the dictionary came from like black. What they describe it as like black English.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Good, good. Next.
Okay. Um, let me go. Let me see that. Uh, okay. That's so. Sometimes I use it. Sometimes I don't.
Mm-hmm. What about
Uh,
yeah? Gimme. Mm-hmm. What about gimme?
yeah, especially when I was younger, like that was like a norm where like say my sister has something, I'm like, give me that,
But you
or
still
she will
say
use it on me.
uh-huh. But now you will prefer to use give me, give me that. Oh.
No, sometimes I will resort back to gimme.
Uh-huh.
Uh, depends on what the person has and depends on my relationship with that person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of,
Okay.
I use this a lot.
Yeah.
Like your example, you said she's kind of cute. Yes, we do that a lot. We do that a lot. I kind of like it. You're like you're so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all. Yeah. Especially in the South and the southern parts of my country, like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. Y'all a lot. Y'all are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, I was that was in my vocabulary when I was living in Texas. and then it comes and goes sometimes. Nice seeing you again. Again, that's more like it feels like more Southern talk. And Donna, are you going to be there? I don't know. I don't know. And I do that.
Yeah.
I don't really say I don't know a lot.
Yeah. It's really how to say. It's better to say like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's after a while you're just saying like don't know, don't know, don't know. It's just like don't know, don't know, don't know.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's like lazy way of saying. By the way, there is as for ain't. Yeah. By the way, it's not the way it's ain't. Yeah.
Ain't.
It's what I want to say is it's a bit it's a bit long ain't. What's the way? Can you say it one? Can you pronounce it one more time?
How I pronounce it is ain't.
Ain't.
I kind of do it short like ain't, but some people will draw it out.
Like
I ain't doing that.
ain't doing that. Or what about bank? What about the word bank? How do you pronounce it? Bank.
Bank.
So you just bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't do this sound like bank.
No, I'm from the west coast of the United States. That's not how I have really heard it. Again,
but people
some
but
people would go on.
will do that. Yeah, this
Sometimes.
sometimes. Yeah. Because that's what I heard. Okay.
But if you're saying
Okay.
if you're using the example as like sometimes I notice I would do that a lot when it's like how you feeling but that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's about feeling. It's not about the words or this sound. Okay, so go next slide. And actually, yeah, that's all. That's all. Now sentences for practice. Actually, it will be for the students. It will be for the students. Let's do the.
I have to pause this because I'm doing this at my school and we're going to be closing soon.
Okay. Actually, we are finishing. So don't do. Yeah. So we're almost finished. Don't worry. These sentences for translations will be for students. I will have a link. I will have a link to the like to this PDF.
Okay.
See, and they will. Well, okay. Actually, I will tell them what to do.
Okay.
So right now you can show yourself.
What do you mean?
Like turn off the presentation.
Okay. Turn off my
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Just yeah, exactly. Show yourself. Say goodbye.
I hate to do it, guys, but my boss will be goosed up and me out.
Yeah. So it's better you can use right now this typical contraction. I gotta go. Sorry, guys. I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I hope you guys have a good time, and well, look forward to your comments.
Yeah. So right now I will speak to the guys like a few minutes in Russian. Yeah, I will just finish the stream. So thank you for joining, and we'll do the next stream on Thursday. On Thursday,
Oh,
this Thursday.
okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah, bye-bye. Итак, друзья, я что хочу сказать, что следующая у нас встреча будет в четверг со Скоттом. Будет у нас уже более такая серьезная тема, уже другая. Мы поговорим о других вещах. И там я уже подробнее расскажу о курсе, который вот скоро будет запускаться. Это будет курс по продвинутому английскому. Мы его будем вести вместе со Скоттом. Вот. И здесь он как раз будет очень помогать в постановке хорошего и качественного произношения и, конечно же, помогать в том, чтобы начать говорить как носитель. Так, что-то я не могу понять, куда мне смотреть, потому что мне снимают две камеры, вот, и все вроде бы я правильно смотрю. Окей, значит, в этот четверг мы выходим на еще одну. У нас будет этот четверг и еще следующая неделя. Мы будем выходить в трансляции и вот обсуждать такие моменты. Спасибо вам за внимание. На этом я заканчиваю. Вот, комментариев я вижу, что особых нет. Были только по поводу того, что мы с опозданием вышли, там, настраивали. На этом все. Спасибо вам. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And hope to see you next online stream. It will be on Thursday. В этот четверг. Все тогда. До встречи.